Oh my goodness. Good evening, capacity crowds. Oh, there's a few more in than last week. Hello, welcome to this week's Life's a Pitch TV. I'm Mark Murphy, and it's great to have your company, whether you're listening on the podcasts or watching us on YouTube. Great to have you along for our special hours edition of Life's a Pitch TV coming up tonight. Big thank you to our main sponsor, DPS Tech. Also a massive thank you to our other sponsors, All About Hearing, marketing company Ginger Pickle, Forward Floors, Come Hither Design, the Hudson Group, Sound 4 Pro Audio, Venue 16, Fred Olsen Logistics, John Keeble Cars Bramford, the Dove in Ipswich, plus Ashford Wright and DPS Tech are also sponsors of our wonderful sofa. Let me introduce you to the team. Make some noise, please. It's Terry Butcher. Hooray! It's Russell Osman. Hooray! It's Phil Ham from twtd.co.uk. And on technicals, it's Richard and John. Hooray! And our floor manager, Leslie. Hooray! And you are our capacity crowd. Welcome and... Hey! That was my very poor attempt at Danish.
Yeah, you're right. It was very poor.
Yeah, it was.
Shocking, but better than me.
Who's here from Denmark tonight? Hey! Who's not? Hey! Welcome. Our capacity crowd is truly international tonight, and we'll meet some of them a little bit later on in the show. But we need a special guest, and I'll tell you what, boys, you know this fella so well, don't you? He's driven you all over the country, probably driven you up the wall on occasions as well, I would imagine, or you to him.
Well, he's tried several times, yes. But it's great to have him here, it really is.
It is indeed. Give a big welcome to Wheels. It's Trevor Kirton.
Round and round, round and round. The wheels on the bus go round and round all day long.
And Trevor, in Danish as well. Listen. Fantastic, well done.
That's a lot better.
I think that's the biggest and best welcome we've ever had for anybody on the sofa.
Well, I thought that was very good.
Yeah.
I prefer that method.
It's a bit like Eurovision here, isn't it?
It is
good,
tonight, yes. Let's hope we do a bit better than we normally do.
Yeah.
Yes. Really good to see you. Thanks for coming on the show. I know you've got a lot of stories to share with us, but how long were you involved in Ipswich Town?
I started as a driver.
Stick that right up close to your face.
I started as a driver in 77, and in 1980 I joined the club full time. So I was from there from 1980 to 2012.
Right. And these boys, you remember these two?
Well, I tried not to, but yes.
You taught us everything we know.
Because on the bus, on the coach, you know, we never really know what goes on the bus or the coach.
The bus?
Well, all right, the coach. I'm sorry, it was an executive coach. I mean, you did have a very flash one, didn't you?
He's a coach driver, Mark.
Not a bus driver, sorry. Okay. Do apologise.
Listen, a few
I've
years
got
ago...
a ticket to be one of them as well.
All right. We should have sung The Wheels on the Coach Go Round and Round then.
Should have done.
Yeah. But what normally goes on the coach stays on the coach, apart from tonight, Trevor.
Oh, no, I haven't received enough money.
Well, we'll have a word. We'll have a whip round. We want those stories tonight, don't we?
And
That old one again.
I've probably got to get in touch with a solicitor to find out if I can say certain things that happened on the bus.
We'll soon rein you in, don't you worry if it goes too far. But it's really nice to have you on the show, and you obviously still love Ipswich Town, don't you?
Well, I still take an interest in them.
Yeah.
But I don't go there as much as I used to, but it's getting too cold and dark, and they play at funny times now. It used to be 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That was easy.
Yeah. You used to live there, though, Trevor, didn't you?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I even had my own bed there. That was easier to go home. Yeah.
So that was your life, was it, for a while?
Yes. I mean, when I first started, you look at it now when they come out of the game, and you think, how many people work in this here room now? And you'll see them go by. When I joined, I only made the 5th person on the football side.
Yeah.
There was obviously Bobby. Cyril was when I was there, then Bobby Ferg and dear old Charlie Woods, the physio, Tommy Egg, and then I just made up when I arrived, I was the next person in, and we'd done everything then, and done schoolboy training at night times and everything. Now there seem to be about 25,000 of them.
It's a big staff, but it's a different game now. That's for sure, isn't it? Well, lots of stories to talk about with you, Trevor, tonight. So, have a little think of the ones you dare tell us. And I know the boys have got one or two that they want to share tonight as well. But let's take a look right now at the season so far. There's a lot to talk about because it's not quite as good as it was a few weeks ago. This is brought to you in association with the Dove in Ipswich. One of our favourite watering holes, the Dove. Phil, what happened last weekend?
We lost. I'm not used to saying that since we've been doing this
No,
show,
we
am I,
aren't,
really?
no.
I mean, it's our 4th defeat in the league this season. 2 of those were to Leeds, so only 3 teams have beaten us in the league this season. Probably Preston were the one, really the first one where you'd think it was a game we really should have won, if given the position we are in the table. But as seems to have been our habit lately, we started slowly. We could have conceded in the first 70 seconds, the first attack of the game. And then the second then it was only, 5 minutes to the second goal, the first goal, sorry, and then the second goal came soon after that. So we gave ourselves the mountain to climb. And then we brought on our own mountain, didn't we, in the second half?
Have you been working on that link?
No, I just
Sounds
thought
like
of it. It's
You've
called
been practicing that all week,
No,
haven't you?
it's called
Yeah, well
wit.
done, Phil.
Yeah, that was quite good, but it's not like you to say something. quite
Thank you
good,
very
yeah.
much. But it was.
Nearly
Thank you. for
Poor
that. It
old
was that,
Phil.
yeah. So we found. Yeah, we just started very poorly, and I think we gave ourselves problems. Our passing out from the back didn't go as well as it usually did. I think part of that was the fact that the pitch was poor. And I think there is a sort of horses for courses element to these things, and I think sometimes you do have to put your boot through the ball and get it distance rather than play it around at the back.
Or your foot through the boot, as you were going to
Yeah.
say.
I'm not-
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I mean, when you say the pitch was poor, what do you think of the pitches that we had to play on? So
But you
playing
didn't
the
try-
ball out of the back, yes, we didn't play a lot of balls out of the back, but the fullbacks got on the ball in the wider areas. That was our aim to do that. So we still played out from the back. So
But I
if it
think
was
you
on,
can overplay out from the back if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the reason you didn't play in that way,
but
because
then-
the pitches
But
were
then
poor.
I'm saying, surely if the pitch is poor, you don't play out from the back.
No, that's exactly my point.
On certain days we were told, don't even try playing out from the back because the conditions will trip you up.
Yeah.
And if you can't hit a 5 or 10 yard pass and control it properly, on the edge of your 18-yard box, then why try and do it?
Yeah.
You can't turn around and suddenly blame the pitch afterwards. The pitch you knew it's going to be like that.
You got to play to the
Don't do
conditions.
it.
Yeah, and I think there were occasions when we didn't, and I think part of that is the fact that we don't come across many pitches like that these days, and this is why football has developed to some degree. Why how it has is that pitches are so good now compared to your era.
Surely they would have done the research into the what the pitch is like.
but I think there's also you get used to playing in a particular way, don't you? I
Phil,
think.
the best players make the best decisions the majority of the time.
Yeah. Well, I think
When it's right to play, when it's not right to play.
And I think they made some wrong decisions. I think Saturday we ended up 3-0 behind, didn't we, at half time? And you have that mountain to climb that I've mentioned. Then we brought on Kiefer, made a huge difference, holding the ball up, and obviously his presence in the area caused their centre halves a great deal of problems. And he got 2 goals, but I think the goals probably came a little bit too late for us.
Okay, let's just ask the boys about that first half. Come and talk to you about that. 3-0 down at half time. So,
Well, we talk about giving ourselves a mountain to climb, Phil. We've done it a few times now, conceding early goals. When you concede 2 early goals away from home, then it really is a big mountain that you are trying to climb.
yeah, it is. I mean, they did come back in the second half, but 3-0. I mean, we're just not used to that, are we?
No, I mean, well, we're not. But I mean, Leeds United was 3-0, different team to Preston. But you put yourself in a position where as Phil says about a mountain to climb, but you weren't playing particularly good football under pressure. They pressed us really well, really strongly, and we just didn't respond to that. It was sloppy, and the own goals we're conceding now. We're conceding a lot of goals. We've only had 2 clean sheets in the last 9 games, so. Whereas the early part of the season, the clean sheets were coming there thick and fast, goals were going in, so everything was rosy. So you talk about the wheels on the bus go round, but the wheels have come off our bus at the moment. So they've got to bounce back quick. And upcoming games gives us the potential of getting more points and getting back into the groove sort of thing that we were on. But the other teams they're the same. They've gone ahead of us, so they've got something to protect now. So, we're now the chasers rather than being the chase team.
It's all still to play for.
Yeah, but I think there's still enough character in the team.
Should he have started Kiefer Moore?
In my opinion, yes. You got 2 strikers coming into the club with El Hamadi and Kiefer Moore. So you would have thought one of them would have started the game at least, and then if he's blowing after an hour, then fine, bring the other one on. Fair play to Caden Jackson. He just gets on with his job. He does what he's asked to do. Chased about a lot first half. Hardly contributed anything because of the way the game was going, and it was inevitable that the changes were going to be made. But in answer to your question, Mark, I was surprised that neither of them started.
But then you've got an international striker. He's scored goals at the top level, so why not play him? But I think he hasn't done a lot, and he needs to get used to how the lads want to play, because it's a different way from playing.
Well, he certainly did all right when he came on, didn't he?
Yeah, which is good, and I think there was a cause, wasn't there, to fight? There was a challenge, a big challenge.
I think when you're looking at the way he plays, he's more or less an out-and-out target man centre forward, and yes, there is a way that he has to blend in with how Ipswich Town play, but it's not as if he's one of the key playmakers in midfield or in the wide areas where it gets quite intricate how the build-up is played. He's just up there, getting the 18-yard box if we needed a play-off, if we needed to chase anything down. He's a good enough player to be able to do that from word go.
That was Kieran's point. Kieran said, because he was asked after the game, do you think you should have started Kiefer Moore? And he said, we didn't really think about it because he'd only trained on the Friday, and I think on the Friday they only did very light training because they travelled to Preston. But I think you have to look at that game and the impact he made, and I think he should certainly have started.
Well, he'll start this weekend, won't he?
I don't think there's any doubt about that, is there?
No doubt whatsoever. No doubt.
And how important is this match on Saturday, West Brom?
Well, every game's important, but you want to get back to winning ways, especially at home. Leeds play Rotherham, Southampton play Huddersfield, Watford play Leicester. So the Leicester game, you don't know about that. We would think that Leeds and Southampton would win those games. So, but that's what I'm saying. They're in pole position now, whereas we're back down on the grid, sort of thing, with the racing analogy. But they've just got to keep going and keep doing what they've been doing. But I'm just worried about the confidence. I'm just worried what they're like, where they've tasted defeat. They've conceded poor goals. They're not fluent now. They're not even out of first gear. So I'm just worried. But I think with Kiefer Moore coming in, it does give them a really good option now that someone's going to hold the ball up.
With Leif Davis crossing the ball.
And also when Hurst was in the team, Hurst held the ball up pretty well. But he would chase in the corners. Kiefer Moore's not going to do that. But then you've got other players to do that. But I think having said I wasn't too sure about the signing. I think it is a good signing now because you've got someone with that experience up front, whereas you didn't possibly have that before.
It's a big boost, I think, don't you? When you sort of get to this stage of the season, and I think since George Hurst got injured, we have struggled a bit up front, and just the other players looking around and thinking, they've got a bit of confidence in this fella who's come in, that he's not someone who's inexperienced. He's someone who's done it at a very high level with Wales.
Well, we'll see on Saturday. Hopefully, fingers crossed, back to winning ways, which we desperately, desperately need, don't we? We really do.
1 win in 8, which is not great at the moment.
It's gone off the rails a little bit since the Norwich game, hasn't it?
Sharp, well done.
Well done.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think it was more that sort of period over Christmas when we drew 0-0 with QPR and 0-0 at Stoke, that kind of period. But it's worth saying, though, we've had some good results in that time, haven't we? We've drawn 1-1 with Leicester at home and away. And they're obviously well, I think most people think they're probably going to win the title without too much doubt. So we've had decent performances. I thought Sunderland, we beat Sunderland in that time as well. So it's not been all doom and gloom. But this starting game slowly, I think we really need to. I don't think anyone's conceded more goals in the first 15 minutes in this division than us, which tells a tale, doesn't it? And I know we've come from behind on plenty of occasions when we have been in that circumstance, but you can't do it every week, and you certainly can't do it when you put yourself 3-0 behind at half-time.
Russ, we could do with a few more clean sheets, couldn't we?
We could do, I think. The likelihood is 75% chance of conceding again on Saturday, if you want to be analytical and look at all of the stats about it. So that's not very good when you're playing at home. people say a lot of success is built up from having a good back four, keeping clean sheets. It certainly makes life a lot simpler, when you're not having to score multiple times to either get a point or get 3 points. And I'm sure the back four, back three, back four, back five, however they play it, however you want to look at it, they will take a lot of pride in getting clean sheets. I know we used to, didn't we? And there's certain points in the game where he said, right, all we've got to do is make sure we do our job and we get a clean sheet. That's our job. End of story.
Yeah, no, but I think he's got problems in the back four. I mean, the goalkeeper's not covered himself in glory the last few games, but he's still a very good goalkeeper, and there's still potential at the back to form a solid back four, because it was there at the start of the season. But with Burgess coming back, would Burgess be eligible to play again there? Yeah. Well, Burgess coming back, you sort of look at the back four and you just say, right, this back four's got to play together for, if it does well, keep it together, because you've got to have that understanding back. Whereas the back four, it looks as if it's very, very vulnerable now, especially with the lack of confidence in the team. So
we tinkered a little bit, for want of a better word. Axel Tuanzebe came in for a couple of games. Brandon Williams came in for a couple of games. Edmondson's been in, and he scored at the weekend. So does he keep his place because he scored, even though it's an own goal? It's been a bit flippant there, but once you start leaving players in and out in key positions there, which I think is one of the most vital areas where you have a good understanding, and we've got that in midfield with Massimo Luongo and Sam Morsey, and just behind them you would think that whether it's 3 centre backs or 2 centre backs, that's part of your solid foundation there, and then your goalkeeper. And that's your backbone to the side, and then you can tinker on the outside of that. But usually you don't take centre halves off 20 minutes from the end of the game or half an hour from the end of the game. They're doing you 90 minutes week in, week out, and that's the sort of relationship that you need.
So you'd go back to the sort of tried and trusted of Wolfenden and Burgess, would you, this weekend?
If that is what was doing the job for us at the start of the season, then yes. Even
though Edmondson, I think, has done pretty well.
Edmondson's done very well.
But Burgess is he was automatic.
Yeah.
Before he went away. So then why shouldn't he just come back in now? Because there's been poor results, so it's tailor-made for him to come in. I would put him back in. Play your best players. So you've had Clark, Wolfenden, Burgess and Davis. There's your back four. The rest virtually picks itself, apart from the left side, really. Sarmiento, Broadhead and whatever. But the rest picks itself. So if he gets the back four right, then I think that gives us a platform then to really surge on.
Right, well, we'll find out on Saturday what happens, won't we? We've got some news from you a little bit later on, but let's welcome back our special guest today, Trevor Kirton.
Are you asleep, Trevor? You don't wake up now?
The excitement was getting to me.
It always does.
It always does.
Who nicknamed you Wheels?
Maras.
Paul Mariner.
Paul Mariner, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
I
a
got
shock.
away quick one day and a bit sharp. I think the manager had to chase the coach, because he did say we had to leave at a certain time.
Newcastle, was it?
We didn't. And the police escort were getting a bit edgy, so we started to roll, and he came out, and from then on, Maris called me Wheels. He said the fastest getaway driver in the town.
So how did you end up getting the job?
Well, as I said, they were when we had a reserve side, we had a youth side. We had the southeastern counties used to be played at night times. So therefore, used to go away with a part-time physio, the coach of the time, of the kids or the reserves, and myself. And to get away after games, I started to go in the dressing room, help put the stuff away, pack it. And then after 2 years, and Bobby Ferguson got moved up, he said, I'm going to get you a job full time. And that's how I got the job.
So what was that doing? Not just driving the coach?
No, the coach was I dropped doing the coach because the coach belonged to Beeston's.
Yep.
I moved to the club. Bobby wanted a better coach, and then he found out how much they cost. And why the coach firm wanted to charge so much to use these coaches. So we were talking over dinner one night when we were away, and he said, "What do you reckon?" I said, "Well, there is a firm that we can go to who might be able to supply us with a coach." And that's what happened. We got a firm up in the Midlands, and hence the coach arrived.
It was very smart, wasn't it, that coach? It was. Were there other teams around with the logo and everything emblazoned on? Was it? Or was
No, we were the first ones to go with all the old adverts and all of that. Adidas came in and paid for the paintwork and put.
Yeah, it was a very subtle bus, wasn't it?
Oh yes, we didn't want people.
You couldn't see it coming down the road at all.
No, we didn't want them. But a guy out the way.
Yeah,
it was a flying
great.
machine. That was one of
Lovely.
It was one of these coaches that came in and had not been altered in any way. So it did do slightly over 70.
Right. Okay.
That was uphill.
what about the time when many times when Bobby Robson used to go to the toilet at the back, and we all just shout down to you, didn't we? Wheels, he's in. and then there'd be all these objects on the road, wouldn't there?
Them potholes were about a long while ago.
They were.
And we just had to shift it because he wouldn't understand the rules that you had to sit down when you were on a travelling. But and that's the one way you would find out if he'd carried out his rules.
He used to come out of there and he was so angry, it was unbelievable. And his hair was all over the place, and he was like this.
You had the stairs going down, and the toilets are off to the side. So you had to, if you would happen to stand up to go to the toilet, you had to wedge yourself in with your head because the movement of the coach didn't help a lot. So
how do you think I felt?
Yeah.
The clanking of the beer bottles as well on a home trip.
Yeah, so he wasn't very impressed with that then, Mr. Robson.
Well, he made the rules. That was, he was determined that everybody should carry out what it says on the wall, sit down when you're going to the toilet and all of that. And we just had to find out if that's what he did.
Yeah.
But he fell for it several times.
It was the highlight of our trip, to be honest. It was really enjoyable, yeah.
What else was it like when you were on these trips then, boys? What else did you get up to?
Well, I mean, I remember we always had a bin at the back of the bus, didn't we? And you talk about the stairs at the back. So there was an exit there and then an exit at the front. We were very tidy, and we used to put all the cans of beer, which there's a lot of cans of beer, squash them down into the bin. It was quite a big bin, big bin. Until he came round the corner of Constantine Road to go back, and he's literally yards away from the ground, and he swings the bus round, and of course all the cans just go smash down the stairs. So you hear it sort of thing down there, you go, oh no. So I'm on the bus trying to get my bags. I'm last off the bus, so I thought I'm not going down the front. So I'm going to go to the back. I think we probably lost. So I'm going to go down the back at the back exit. So I open the door and all these cans come out of the door. And who's standing there but the gaffer, Bobby Robson? And he's like, "Have you drunk all this?" I was like, no, it wasn't me. Unbelievable.
But it was great because there were two sections to the coach, wasn't there? And there was always a couple of the directors used to travel with us as well, Mr. John or Howard Smith or Sangster, great fellas as well, and they'd all have a drink during the game and stuff like that, especially away from home. But it was separate from us, so all the players were down the back, and the players could go and join in there, or Mr. John could come back and have a bit of banter with the boys and everything. But it was like officials at the front, players at the back, and that was more or less the.
You had a press man on, didn't he, sometimes?
The press came with us.
Press guys on?
Always travelled.
Yeah.
Really? Can't imagine that now, can you?
Well, I don't know.
Definitely not.
You've not been invited on by Mr.
No, I
Ashton?
can't imagine it. This is the likes of Dave Allard and Brian Knight.
Dave Allard,
like
yes.
You won't get all the players on.
Tony.
Garnett.
Not these days.
Tony Garnett.
Tony Garnett.
Neil
And,
Manning. Manning.
Neil Manning.
Marvellous.
Marvellous. Yeah, they always used to travel, them three. Always.
Blimey.
And we had food as well.
Yeah, we were the first. Well, because we weren't a big time club, though we were winning everything. I think we weren't in Manchester and we weren't in London, so it was never a broadcast. But we were the first team bus to have hot food. A lot of them had cold salads and things like this come on at the end of the game, but we actually had hot food coming out. The chef used to do it. We used to have freezers on the bus. Take them out of freezers, put them in the oven, so the boys had hot food or sandwiches or whatever they wanted.
Blimey, weren't you looked after?
Oh, proper, yeah. And we send a beer down to Trevor now and again.
Yeah.
I always used to improve me driving.
I used to come and I used to like to sit down at the front, right beside you, not actually on the seat, but you know,
we had a corridor
down,
seat.
there was a pull down one, so
Yeah.
you'd sit there, and I'd have a can of beer down there after away games. It was brilliant, especially when we won. You just toast the away fans. You know, they weren't very happy at all. But we used to go down the front and have a chat, didn't we? They used to come down as well.
Yeah.
I always had visitors come down in the older days before you boys took over. That used to be Alan Hunter. Used to pop down and have a chat. I don't know if that was trying to keep me awake or not, but they always take.
Trevor, what happened when the kit van turned over in Poland on the way back after the game? Because we were in a separate.
There was a
coach and we
certain
just
person
waved at
sitting
you,
very
didn't
close to me. I won't do it because we are live on television. As the bus went by, he gave a little sign, which wasn't. I was lying in the field at the time. I thought, they're going to stop.
It's about
No, it disappeared down the road.
So was this in the snow then? You came off in the snow?
Yeah, well,
-10.
Manchester United had just been beaten by the lots, and we were the next in, and they said, by the way, when you get up there, you can't get the kit on the bus. It's got spares and all of that underneath that, and no room. So we are organised to have a van waiting for us, and part of the payment that we all used to have to give when you're in Europe was that we took football boots out for them because they couldn't get them. So I had 4 or 5 boxes of boots and all of this, and this bloke picked me up in the van. And I got there when I flew off, and he got there in no time. And I'm sitting at this hotel thinking, an hour? And they ain't arrived. 2 hours? They ain't arrived. I thought, jeez, where are they gone? Have I got the wrong hotel? Have I been hijacked for the football boots? And anyway, they turned up. But on the return journey, I was away straight after the game, got in the coach, and this bloke, I thought, well, if you were smoking and lit a fag, he would have blown you to pieces. And I'm thinking, should I really be in here? Because he's had a food to drink. And off we went. And I'm going along the road, and I'm watching out the window, and all of a sudden I'm giving him a shake, shouting, because I could see this light bobbing up and down, red light. That was a horse and cart. So he didn't brake, he just turned the wheel, and we disappeared in the fields.
Oh dear.
That was the first one as we went off the road.
It was snowy and icy.
Oh, it was snow, icy, everything.
It was cold.
There. Yeah. The Russians were sitting on the border coming, it was the end of the world. So anyway, we got and lorries and all of that stopped, got us out, loaded the van up again, and I was stupid enough to get back in it. I thought, well, there's nowhere else I can go, really, but I'll have to get in. Off we set again. Next minute, he's going round this corner, and we never made the corner. We just went into the ditch, and the van is ripped apart this time, and all the kit's lying all over the place. It's still in the boxes, but not in any order. Along came a travelling van, a bus, and that had a pop group on. Well, you got on there. I weren't drinking there. That was another substance.
The travelling Wilburys.
And the first question they asked me was, "What do you think of Russia?" And I'm thinking, what should I say here? Am I going to disappear forever, or anything? You know. So anyway, I said, well, I think what they're doing is very wrong. Oh, yes, have a drink. So and they're smoking on my head. I said, well, I'll have a drink. So I had a drink. And when we got to the airport, they were all waiting for me, and they were just making a decision because they had to get back to Stansted, because it used to shut in them days after a certain time for passenger flights. And Mr. John and Mr. Pat were going to stop and wait for me, or come look for me. And that's what happened. And so I got off the bus, the first words Bobby Robson said, "Where you been?" Oh, I said, "I've been to a party." I said, "Been a hell of a time." And they said, "Wow." I said, "No, the bus, you notice it's a bus now." I started off in a van.
It's like Bruce Willis, this.
Yeah, of course. What a journey that was. And then when it was reported, it was like I was driving. My wife said, "You didn't know you were driving over there?" I said, "I wasn't. I was only the idiot sitting next to the drunk."
But it was quite funny when we went past you because we saluted you.
Yeah.
I think with 2 fingers.
Yeah.
Because we didn't know who it was. Didn't have a clue. And then there was somebody else went over on the other side. It obviously wasn't you, but somebody else went there. So there was lots of. The roads were awful, terrible roads. It was about a 2-hour journey or something like that?
About 2.5.
Yeah.
2.5.
More cars in the fields than there was on the road, wasn't there?
Yeah.
What was,
But
what was the match like? What was that like to play in?
Well, we can't remember the match, but that was great. I enjoyed that very much. Yeah. That was our entertainment.
That was entertainment.
Well, we shouldn't
The
have played
game would
again,
have never
really.
been played if
No.
there wasn't if the Russians weren't sitting on the
we
border.
were singing Beatles songs on the way back.
Yeah.
John Lennon had passed away when we were over there, so that was when it was. But it was a great trip home because we'd obviously qualified for the quarterfinals. That was qualified.
That's when Beat came on as a substitute,
Yeah.
the only person with a short sleeve shirt on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a few of us had like tights on and long sleeve shirts and things like that. But no, he came out just the short sleeve shirt.
But when he used to come and do the
short
radio
shorts.
show with us in the midwinter, he'd walk in with flip-flops on, wouldn't he? You know,
'cause
so
he's
he
from
never felt the
Carlisle.
cold at all, did
We
he?
had a big bottle of was it White and Mackay Scotch in the changing room before we went out on the pitch.
We always did. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was standard. I think we used to terrify, especially foreign sides, because I used to have to stand by this corner door, and they had a choice: they had a bottle of brandy or a bottle of scotch, and they could have a little swig as they were going out, just a livener. And they used to stand in the next to that was very narrow at Portman Road, isn't it? In the galleyway, and they're standing there and they're breathing over the opposition, and the opposition are thinking, "What the hell are we going?" And that was a tradition that was started way back. I think that was dear old the physio, wasn't it? When I first went there, he said, "When we go away, you have to
Tommy.
have a bottle." Tommy, yeah,
Tom
you have to have
Eggleston.
a bottle of scotch and a bottle of.
That's the best thing you did then, Tommy.
That wasn't unusual in that era, though, was it? To
No,
have
no.
a bottle of whiskey in the
No,
dressing
no,
room
no.
for teams. It took the edge off the nerves, I think, was the idea, wasn't it? Probably
no.
took rather more off for some players than others, I think.
It was nerves. It was much needed in Poland anyway.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
a
yeah.
bit of a
No wonder
warmer.
BT performed well and didn't feel the cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the pitch was white. They just
Well, you could have landed a Boeing
Yeah.
707 on it. That was like
Yeah.
as hard as this floor is there.
painted all the lines in red.
Yeah.
There was just a heavy covering of snow on there, and it was like a skating rink. You know, you couldn't keep your feet, and it was just farcical, really, but good fun.
Good
But
job
you're-
we got a few goals. We had lost 1-0, didn't we? That's
But you were
Yeah.
5-0 up from the first leg, weren't you?
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we
Job done.
normally did. We'd win at home and then lose away. We got through.
Yeah, clean sheet as well at home.
Clean sheets. But it was. I mean, like the travel in our day was great. You know, you went European games and things like this. But yeah, I mean, you talk about the kit. Nowadays, our kit wasn't a lot, was it?
No.
But compared to what it is now, I mean, you were there, 2012. You've seen
By
what
that
the
time
kit
we-
man had to do.
Yeah, that trebled in that period. I mean, you went away with you had a long sleeved, short sleeved. You didn't have 25 in this team. You only had 14. They were numbered 1 to 14.
But Trevor, when you were a kid, man, we remember like going into the kit room, folding the shirts, making sure you got the right short sleeve shirts folded up and put in the right pile, all numbered in the correct order. And if you put a long sleeve one in where short sleeve one would have been, then you had to, then Trevor would be on it. Yeah, just socks that would be used week in, week out. Big bag of slips and everything. Shorts, different size shorts, but they lasted you all season. It wasn't like a new full set of kit every day.
If you
And the
give
training
anything
kit was
away,
the same.
if you give anything away, it'd
So
been
then
on a
giving
death
shirts
wish.
to the crowd or anything like that.
Oh, that'd
What
have been
about
the end
trying
of
to
the
get
world.
boots
I'd have been
off
in there fighting for it. Get it back.
Yeah, you couldn't. I mean, you just didn't think about exchanging shirts because he'd pick after you straight away. You'd be in the other dressing room, but no, you didn't think about that.
Try and
Trying
get a
to
new pair of boots off him. Unbelievable. Trevor, I've got my big toes sticking out the bottom of my boot. We'll get it repaired, son.
It used to be repaired. I mean,
Yeah, so just
stitched up.
chap in Hamilton Road used to come round and pick them up, didn't he? Well, old Ron used to come
Ron
in.
did, yeah.
Ron
Ron, the
Take-
memory man,
the memory
used to
man.
come in and get them, and
It was
Yeah.
fantastic.
this old boy
Ron.
in a shed down in Hamilton Road used to mend them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had to go some to get a new pair of boots.
Yeah, steel toe cap on the
So
end
did
of
you
your
have
boot.
some of the younger players assisting you getting the kit and everything ready?
Well, that was the thing. When I went there, they sort of invented a job, really, in the sense that not just the kit. Every apprentice had a job. So that's what had to issue out the jobs and then make sure all the jobs were done. And then I was there because the staff used to go off to watch games, and I used to stop with the kids, make sure everything was ready, place was clean. Because that was not just our match day, it was our training there as well. So,
Was it Scoey we had on the other week who forgot to put the balls on the coach for an away trip, and he said you had to go off and go and buy some beach balls or something like that to train with?
Well, I didn't think it was that bad, but yeah. I used to I used to love to wait for them not to put things in or do, and then go round and check, put it away, and hide it somewhere else on the bus, and then watch their faces when they realised that they'd actually forgot it, or they'd left their boots and just chucked them on the floor and disappeared. I used to pick them up, put them in a black bag, and then watch them while they were looking for them. When the next day. Now we had people in last night, expect to pinch them.
Well, you got to learn, haven't you?
You have got to learn. You have got to learn.
It's a different culture.
Who are the
then.
players that who were the characters that you remember? Obviously, Beattie and Hunter, I would imagine.
Oh yes, but I didn't. They were okay. Yeah, Alan was. You had to handle in a funny way, really, because
strange man.
It's a very strange man, and. He liked.
Alan.
He did like me, I think, because he used to say, "I think you've got to go and have a drink." And I thought, I used to have to go and say to Charlie Woods, "He wants me to go and have a drink." Well, I'll go and have one with him then.
Day off the next day.
Yeah, day. And you go with him and think, "Oh my God, what are we going to get into?" But yeah, he's a lovely man, Alan was. But you had people like Dalian Atkinson who used to actually come and beg to be the boot boy, which was quite a job really, because you had to clean up all the boots when they came in from training. And in them days, we were being sponsored by Adidas. We used to have to paint the lines on the boots, and they used to be in there. And how did you think? Then I realised that Dalian had a racket going on, that he was doing everybody's boots, even the people, because it was only the first team that had the boots cleaned.
He was my boot boy.
Yeah, he looked after and he'd done that. But he had anybody who didn't want to bother to clean their boots, Dalian would do it. So he was earning more money doing boots than what he was as an apprentice footballer.
It was one of Beattie's stories, wasn't it, Phil, on the show, that when the Adidas deal came in, he liked Gola boots, didn't he? So he got white paint and painted the stripes down to make them look like Adidas boots.
Yeah, but the
they
trouble
were actually Gola ones.
Yeah, but the trouble with Beattie was he forgot to take the Gola sign off. So it was a little, it didn't quite look right. Maras suddenly got a contract with
Puma,
and he turned up with Puma boots, and of course we had to have the debate.
Oh, he was allowed to do that.
Yes, but in the end, what we did was we took the Puma sign off and painted 3 white stripes until that end of the season, and then from then on, that's when they started to negotiate their own boot deals.
Yeah,
And that was with black boots. Everybody had black boots.
Everybody had black boots. Oh God! Imagine dear old Bobby Ferguson if you'd have turned up in a pair of pink boots. Oh.
So what do you think of modern? What do you think of in the modern game now with the players with their socks, and they cut them and there's like holes in their socks?
Oh dear me, that would. Well, they'd be charged for them, actually. We'd have to have something. But, I mean, I can't understand why they don't have them made like that then. If they cut them and all of that. It's another craze, isn't it?
Yeah, well, surely then, if they're really tight and they are restricting your calf, as they say, surely you would ask the company to make them bigger.
Well, I never used to use Adidas socks, though we could have got them from them. I always used to buy them from up in Leicestershire, and the man would actually make them to the size you wanted. And I always used to have a little bit bigger because that allowed for the shrinkage in the wash, so you get a whole season.
And the players with the socks over their knees, what do you think about that?
Well, I've got to watch the knees. They don't get all that mud. I don't know. Yeah, I'd like to see them playing at Derby.
The baseball,
baseball ground, the old one, in about 3 foot of mud.
Priceless,
and that was in September.
Do they put them over their knees because when they score they slide on their knees? Is it to save their knees?
Well, probably, but I can imagine dear old Wiggy would have been the other end waiting for him with a fork, wouldn't he? Oh, yeah. As they slid.
Oh, I tell you what, that would be the worst nightmare. If you did slide on your knees and it was like a big track, he'd be there with his fork, right, waiting for you to come off.
Yeah.
And he'd throw the fork at you and say, "You go and fix that."
They only do that.
Oh,
once.
you wouldn't do it, would you?
No. I mean, you were displeased you had something. We were very fortunate that we had two. In the time I was there, we had two very good groundsmen. Wiggy was a good old groundsman. He wasn't. His problem with poor old Wiggy was he never had the money spent like they used to. At the beginning of the season, you'd get so many bags of seed, so many bags of fertiliser. If you wanted anything else, you had to go and beg a special meeting to get something. And it was the same with the kit. They allowed for 28 shirts, 20 of this. The reserve side used to wear what was the first team's kit the year before. Yeah. And then the kids used to read from that. So we got 3 seasons out of a shirt. That's why we didn't want to change them. It was then, how you could see it coming in once we were going up, when the money started to come into the game from television and so forth. That's when you then started to get...
Did much change when you went to the Premier League?
Oh, yes. I mean, because that was the first time we had money. All the people that was supplying kit, you suddenly started to have names on them. They all had individual numbers. So that just trebled everything. You had to cover yourself right down to who you think might be playing.
Did you have the machine to do the names and numbers?
No, we didn't, because the club could only afford one, and that was in the shop. So I had to had to work
the shop all the time. Yeah,
many a time, poor old Richard or the books, he used to get calls saying, "Can you come in early? Because we've signed somebody. I need some shirts." Yeah, that's how it was.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, we used to. The first thing that happened was the advertising on the front of the shirts, wasn't it?
Yeah,
and that was.
Who were the first ones that came in? Was it Pioneer?
Yeah, Pioneer was.
Yeah.
And we used to have a certain size. If you were on television, you could have it smaller. If you were ordinary, you could have it bigger, or the other way around. You had 2 shirts, because we went up to Manchester once, and packed the stuff. Away we went, no problem. All of a sudden, we stopped at Huntingdon. We used to have to stop on the way to these places then, and we got a phone call, and he came in and he said, "We're in trouble." I said, "What's that?" He said, "We're television game tomorrow," and we never had the right shirts.
No,
of course, because you couldn't wear the sponsored shirt
because the lettering was too big. Yeah.
They designed their kit so that it had the Talbot logo was sort of intricately. Yeah.
incorporated.
Incorporated, yeah, something like that. It was part of the design of the shirt, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll edit that bit out, Phil, don't worry.
Yeah, that's all right.
We'll edit that, won't we, everybody? Yeah, so no one will notice.
Yeah, well, that's, but then we then had to phone Adidas, which was based in Manchester, and they actually they found some white with black striped shirts, and we had shirts for the game, delivered to the ground about an hour before kickoff.
Did you ever have any washing disasters with kits where they sort of ended up a sort of slightly different shade of blue or anything like that?
No, we were we're not that sort of thing, but everybody, it was easier to order training kit, all extra large. Now, poor old Gatesy used to look like an orphan. But if you got really hot water and put his kit in and put it through the system and then put it into the dryer straight away, by the end of the season that fit him well.
So you had to stay the whole season to get the actual nice fitting shirt.
Yeah.
What was your kit like then, Terry?
Well, it was all
right. A bit tight.
No, it was all right.
Yeah, well, you always pick the biggest fella.
Yeah.
If that fitted him, that fitted the rest, didn't it?
I was always all right.
It was extra. Like,
So
yes.
so tell me, with it, I mean, I did know many times about your fingers.
Yeah.
You've lost 2 ends of your fingers, haven't you?
Yeah.
How'd you do that?
Well, somebody switched the machine on when I was apprenticed, and before I went into driving, and took two of my fingers off.
Yeah, because you're always, when you're on the bench, you know what I'm going to say now. When you're on the bench, and it's getting late in the game, and we're 1-0 up or something like that. Because there's no clocks, no clocks or screens or anything else like that.
If there was, they didn't work.
Yeah, I had to shout over to the bench, how long to go, and Wheels, how long to go? So Trevor would hold the fingers up, wouldn't he?
I go 2 minutes. You don't know, minute and a half.
Is that a minute and a half?
So it became the standard thing.
But then you used to go like that. Oh, there's 2 minutes left. There's 2 minutes left. Oh, we had some good times.
Oh,
yeah.
What were these two like to look after then? Were they okay? They behave themselves?
Well, Russell, I introduced to Russell very early. I was still driving for the bus company then, and Russell's dad had a beautiful Jaguar. And obviously he'd lent it to Russell to come to the game. And he pulled in, and Bobby Robson, no one had to have a better car than the boss. That was his thing. And he's walked out of the office block, and he's looked at this car, and he's got on. Whose is that? I said, Russell's. Russell? I said, yeah, it's Russell's car. He's just coming it. And he gives up that rocket money. Russell, what's that car? Well, I thought it was quite nice one, Mark. That was his dad's.
What had happened, my dad had a pub up in the Midlands, and he got in a bit of trouble with the taxman and stuff like that. And I'd got a Mark III Cortina. I was going to describe the colour. It was brown. It was something brown.
Yeah.
Mark III Cortina. Cheap as chips who run and everything. So I just said to my dad, for a while, till you get yourself back on your feet, take that, and I'll take the Jag. He suggested it actually, because it got 2 10-gallon tanks on the back, and I said I was only 17. And I never thought about what Mr. Robson might think of it, so I've just come sailing in one day in that. Oh, crap. Now, I think that was the end of my relationship with him, actually. Because after that, I ended up getting sponsored by Mercedes. So that didn't go down very well either, so...
No. Once you got into the team, you got into the team then, weren't you?
And they say that you don't have to scratch too far to find a connection, because I used to service your Mercedes-Benz, your G-Wagon, red G-Wagon, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I used to service that when I was a
Ronnie
youngster.
Lancaster and Nick and all that crowd. Yeah. Well, I met my wife.
Yeah.
I've been a poor man ever since.
What other players spring to mind, Trevor, that you looked after?
Well, we had my friend, as you just said,
Jason.
Dozer. Jason, he was a nightmare. Because I never forgot, I had to go up to school to get him one day to play against Coventry. I had to go into the school to get him. And I had to go up, and he's going, what have I done wrong? I said, nothing. You've got to come with me. And he's all like, and I'm trying to think, well, should I tell him or not? And I knew Bobby Ferguson might have tell him, so I drove him back to the club to be told that you're playing tonight. But
so you hauled him out of class?
Oh, yeah. And then you used to have Kieran used to time it to perfection. So you all had to be in by 9 o'clock. And he used to come down that drive at 1 minute to 9 every morning. And I thought, I'm going to catch you next week. I'm going to lock the door. So you have to run round the building, and I'll be waiting at the next door. You're late. And the other, when John Loyal was there, they started to weigh people. Weight became a big issue in them days. Everybody had to be a certain weight. And on Fridays, it was my job to weigh them. I said, well, it's a bit much, boss. I'm out John's doing the job. I said, they don't like it. He said, no. He said, that does hurt when a fat person tell you you're overweight.
Charming.
I said, oh. And he said, don't forget to fine them. I don't know. We used to have to fine them for everything in them days.
Really?
So, yes, we used to have days out to the races and everything, all paid for from the fines. You have a big bottle.
It works well,
put
doesn't
it in the bottle, screw it up, away you go. And that's Kieran donated to that. There was, it was fun.
They were good times, weren't
Oh,
they?
they were good times. So it was, it was harmless fun.
Do you think it's a bit too serious now, or not? Or does it have to be?
Well, it's the way it is. Once you get money involved in it, I remember Mr. John and Mr. Pat saying it when it was all starting to take off about, being taken over by television. And he said, that'd be the end of the game is the way we know it. And he's spot on. He said they would be telling you when you play, not you play when you want. And who plays the tune. Plays the master.
Yeah, they do indeed.
That's it. You can't, and that's what it is now. You cannot afford. It's a lot of money to lose from television, isn't it?
You remember Simon Clegg?
Oh yes.
Yes. Well, he said he described you as, whilst on occasions he can make Victor Meldrew appear simply angelic. Now, a lot of younger people don't know who Victor Meldrew is, but he was one miserable
Grumpy old git,
yeah.
Well, he was a hard person to deal with because he didn't really know that the ball was blown up with air. But he was a world renowned person for football. He used to start talking. By then I was well established, shall we put it? And I used to say, do you know what you're talking about? Then what do you mean? I said, you can't do that. You're absolutely ridiculous. And that's how I got it. And he had that bloke in who some chap arrived, and we all had to go and be interviewed and talk to him and see how our brains were working and were we healthy and all of this. And I think mine came back. He is a pearl for the club.
Ooh.
Yeah. And the pearl comes from being gritty, nasty and miserable for a lot of years in a shell.
Fantastic.
Just talk me through Elton John.
Well, that's when we first started. It was another thing that happened. They decided to put on shows, and I said, well, if you're going into this, there's got to be a catch because these people are just going to come in and roll all over you. So I was very fortunate to know this chap. They called him Wolfie, because you all got to have names when you're in showbiz. I was called.
Go on, spit it out.
No, he always used to say to me, well, the nice one was I was Elvis, and when I left the ground, it was nothing was left. I was the first in and last out.
Yeah.
But with Wolfie, he said, look, and he showed me all about how to put on shows and little things like who's going to pay for the hire of certain equipment, say fire equipment, things like this. And that's the thing that runs away with money when you're doing these shows. And we put on the Elton John one. He was, it was a good show. And of course they were all saying, oh, Elton this and Elton that. And he turns up and he goes, hello, big fella. And they all said, how do you know him? I said, well, I drove him when I was with the coach company. I said, when Watford first started to get recognised, Graham Taylor first went there, I took them up to play in the league, they were doing well in the League Cup, Milk Cup it was called, wasn't it? League Cup. And he came home, he arrived with Kinky D, and I drove him down to the town because I never had no Elton John music to put on for the players when we went. So we went into Stoke and got into the town centre and drove round until we found a music shop. And the bloke looked quite surprised when Elton John come in and Kinky D and
Elvis
and his right hand man. So yeah, that was a bit funny. Everybody was all sort of, oh dear me, Elton don't want this, Elton don't want that. And I said, he'll be all right. Don't worry.
My old mate Elton.
And they all thought I was pulling the fast one, but they got shocked when he actually did know me.
Brilliant. We'll come back and talk some more in a moment or two. For now, Trevor Kirton, everybody. Time for this week's Keep It Up Challenge, sponsored by our friends at Ginger Pickle. Now, Trevor, I'm assuming that you don't really want to have a go at our Keep It Up Challenge, which at the moment sits on our leaderboard. I think Scoey's still top, isn't he?
Yeah,
with
79.
79. So 60 seconds to see how many keepy-ups you can do with that.
Oh, we could probably put it straight over the roof for you.
Okay, all right, in the style of Big Al. Yeah. But we do, I believe, have a volunteer in our capacity crowd, everybody. Oh, it's bigger than that. Come on, Carl. Come on. There you go. There's your ball. Off you go. You watch the show. You know what to do. 60 seconds. Our leaderboard at the moment needs some, some competition for Scoey on the top there. So 60 seconds. Terry's going to time you. Phil's got the whistle. And capacity crowd, you can come around here a little bit and count as Carl does his keepy-uppy. So you ready? You can bounce it off the wall if you wish, but preferably not.
I might have got,
wouldn't have made any difference to you.
7. Yeah.
So, are we ready?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58.
Oh, give him a round of applause. That's immense. Well done. Well done, Carl. Fantastic. What do we reckon that was?
I don't know. I reckon it was
give him a
60.
60?
Yeah, I reckon it was 60.
60?
There was one off his knee, wasn't there? I think that. Yeah,
60
that
off the
definitely
knee.
counts. Yeah.
Now, as we have an international audience here this evening, do any of our Danish fans want to have a go at the Keep It Up challenge?
Not now he's got 60 then. No.
What's Danish for Keepy-up challenge?
No. Have we got a
hello.
volunteer for the Keep It Up challenge? Oh, well, never
someone
mind. We
being
gave you a
volunteered?
chance. We gave you a chance. At least we've won this, not the Eurovision Song Contest, but we've won this.
England won, Denmark
England won,
0.
Yes, Denmark 0. Brilliant. Fantastic. Actually, where's Kenneth? Kenneth's going to come up. Yeah, come up to the microphone. I'll go over there and we're going to have a little chat with you. Come up to the microphone. That's it. Give him a round of applause, everybody. Of all the Danish fans, he was volunteered. Kenneth, how long have you been a Town fan and why?
I think I've been a Town fan since '76. Back in the '70s and the '80s, we in Denmark we were able to watch an English league game every Saturday live, and every Dane had an English team they supported.
And Ipswich, of course, were doing incredibly well at that time, weren't they? Yeah,
we were one of the best. So
yeah.
I think my first match I was watching. We beat Liverpool the 4th of December in '76, 1-0. Paul Mariner scored the goal.
Fantastic.
Cracking
You remember
header.
that so well.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you're all a similar age, aren't you? We need to get some younger.
What do you mean?
But we need to get some. The success we're getting now. Hopefully, will breed some younger fans. But can you still see it on the television there or not?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah. So the better we do, perhaps if we get up into the Premier League, then we might have some younger fans coming over as well.
Definitely.
Yeah. So what's it like to be with these two?
I'm speechless. I think.
Speaking very well.
So how many times do you come over a season?
Once or twice a year. And we haven't seen Ipswich win for the last 15 years or something.
No,
oh my goodness!
No.
Who invited these people? But you will on Saturday. You'll see them win.
You will on
yeah.
Saturday.
Yes,
Yeah,
finally.
you will on Saturday.
I've actually played for the Danish supporters.
Yeah. I played with you in Eltingård.
Unlucky.
Phil Skinker.
Stinker?
Skinker.
Oh, Skinker, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, is that Danish for ham? Is it?
Yes, that's very good. It's very quick. And it's all been
Good fun,
it's
really
all
good fun. Well, look, enjoy the match on Saturday, won't you? Have a fantastic time here, and give yourselves a big round of applause for coming to join us
Thank you.
tonight. Don't forget, If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really does make a difference to the channel. And if you want some of our merch, we've got mugs, we've got shirts, we've got loads of those. Check out our website, www.lifesapitch.tv, lifesapitch.tv for mugs and T-shirts. And soon we will be announcing our end-of-season dinner, where we'll be having some special awards. So look out for that. The last event that we had in the Willow Suites at Venue 16 was a massive success. We're going to be doing that again. Time now for some town news in brief, sponsored by John Keeble Cars of Bramford. And here's Phil Ham from twtd.co.uk. Come on, Phil Stinker.
But to mention that, wasn't it? I should have guessed that was going to get.
We're just going to have to give you another microphone, Philip, because your microphone is playing up. So we've just got another little microphone that we're stretching across.
His microphone's giving up the ghost.
It has.
Is it?
And for the first time, Leslie Dolphin's been on camera for months. Yay! What you didn't see earlier on was her crawling underneath. Under the camera shot to try and sort the microphone out, but I think you're going to have to use that one now.
Yeah,
Phil.
that's fine. It's a relatively quiet week on the news front, with the transfer window closing last Thursday. Kiefer Moore's signing on loan, having been confirmed during last week's show. The only other first-team move at town on the deadline day was Elkan Baggett's loan switch to Bristol Rovers. The Indonesia international made his debut for the Pirates in Tuesday's 2-0 home defeat by Fleetwood. Elsewhere, a couple of youngsters moved on a permanent basis. Finlay Corrigan joined Dundee, and Zach Bradshaw, who features for Town's first team in pre-season on a few occasions, joined Lincoln City, then a few days later moved out on loan to League of Ireland side Dundalk. Town also signed a young player from Ireland, 18-year-old right-back or right midfielder Daniel Babb, joined from UCD, one to go in John McGrill and David Wright's squad. And on Friday, Blues boss Kieran McKenna announced the departure of midfielder Lee Evans after the Wales international's contract was terminated by mutual consent. Evans, 29, is around a month away from a return to action, having undergone knee surgery in October, and with his contract up in the summer, the termination was agreed to give him time to find a new club and play again this season. He wasn't realistically going to play at Town this season with a number of players in his position, including recent signing Lewis Travers, and with Evans effectively the 26th man in the Blues' 25-man EFL squad. The decision was made to let him go. He joined Town having left Wigan in the summer of 2021, and made 55 starts and 6 sub-appearances, scoring 6 times, 3 of those in one game, the 6-0 hammering of Doncaster early in his first season at the club. I think everyone wishes him well, played his part in the promotion. Injuries obviously hampered him throughout his time here. Ahead of Saturday's home game against West Brom, the Blues have Cameron Burgess available again, as we spoke about earlier, following his return from the Asian Cup with Australia. The Socceroos were beaten 2-1 after extra time by South Korea in the quarterfinals last Friday. Burgess having come on as an 84th minute sub, his second appearance of the tournament and his 6th full cap. And finally, Town have had yet another game move for Sky. I know this is a subject that a lot of people have been talking about today.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to get used to this, aren't we, I think, whether we go up or not.
No, we are. Yes, so the latest match to move for is the trip to Cardiff City on Saturday the 9th of March, which will now be another 12:30 kickoff. Hardly ideal for fans who will presumably have to leave around 6 o'clock, if you're on the coaches, I would guess, to make it to the Cardiff City Stadium. Saturday's match at home to West Brom also kicks off at 12:30, and Wednesday's game at Millwall is an 8 p.m. start, which probably makes it more difficult for people to get back, if anything else. So, as you say, there's a new championship deal starting next season, so I think games will be spread all over the place, not just in times of 12:30 kickoffs and 5:30 kickoffs, but from like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to Monday. And if we go up to the Premier League, then we know what that's like anyway, don't we? So, yes, the fans are not the first ones thought about in these matters, are they?
No, it's money, isn't it? It's money. Phil, thank you very much. That's the news this week. We've got some news about another Ipswich Wanderers. Chris is here. Come on, Chris, come up to the microphone. Chris is going to tell us about a sponsored activity that he's doing. Good to see you.
Hi,
what are you up to?
I'm going to be doing a sponsored walk. Ipswich Wanderers have had a very good few seasons, had back-to-back promotions the last 2 seasons, and we're now playing at the highest level we've ever been at, which is the Eastman League North. What comes with that is some challenges off the pitch as well as on, because there's certain ground gradings that need to be completed, otherwise we'll be relegated irrespective of how we're doing on the pitch. So they've got to be completed by the 31st of March, and so I thought to try and raise some funds towards that, and for our charity sponsors, partners, which is Active Lives, I'd go for the away game to Stowmarket and do the sponsored walk from Ipswich Wanderers ground to Stowmarket, which is 14.5 miles. And so far I've raised, I think, just over £900.
That's pretty good going.
Got an
But you
aim,
want some more, don't you?
Yes, I'd like some more. Got an initial aim of £2,000, which with another week to go would be great to reach that. There's a Just Giving page, which is there's a QR code, which I think might be able to put up. And any donations would be really appreciated.
So I've got the QR code here. I'm sure Phil will put something up on his TWTD website.
I think there's a link on the message board now, isn't there?
Yeah, there has been, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's dropped off the being pinned.
I'm
But
sure I can find it.
I'm sure he'll elevate that for you, Chris.
Re-establish it.
Chris, how many pubs are on along the way? More importantly,
I haven't fully planned that yet. But no, the walk should take about just under 5 hours. But slightly more if we take in all the pubs.
well, you've got to keep hydrated, haven't you? So that's what you
Absolutely.
medically, yeah.
And it's a big game because at the moment we're one place above Stowmarket in the league, but we're quite a few points ahead of them. So it's a big game for both teams. We haven't had too many sort of highlights this season. It's been a tough season. One of the highlights was we're one of only 2 teams to have won away at Lowestoft Town this season.
I was going to come on to that, yeah.
So, But,
You're a brave man to mention that in front of him, I tell you.
Yeah, absolutely.
no, it should be a good walk. I've got the chairman's joining me for it and another one of the volunteers, so there's going to be 3 of us doing the
Brilliant.
walk.
Well, good luck.
Yeah, it's good luck.
Check out Phil's website, twtd.co.uk, for more details. Chris, everybody,
Thank you very
you.
Well done, Chris.
Let's take a look and see what's happened to ITFC on this day in the past, brought to you in association with Fred Olsen Logistics.
Well, on this day, the 8th of February, 1975 is where we're going to start. Liverpool crushed the Blues 5-2 at Anfield in Division 1. At the final whistle, just 5 points separated the top flight's top 11 teams. Oh, it was pretty tight then. Moving on, Saturday, the 8th of February, 1992. Ipswich's excellent season continued as they destroyed fellow promotion chasers Portsmouth 5-2 at Portman Road. The win saw Town move into second place in Division 2. Jason Dazelle and his sidekick Chris Kawamia grabbed a brace apiece. And that, I'm afraid, is all that happened on the 8th of February.
Lots of 5-2s for some reason.
Yeah. Lots of 5-2s.
Yeah. And we're hoping Chris
Nothing wrong
Kawamia
with
is going to join us on the show in the next few
clean
weeks.
sheets.
He's up for coming on the big sofa.
Lovely.
It's Chris
Be good to
Kawamia,
see.
so he'll join us in the next few weeks. We're nearly done. We do have the latest scores from the Man v Fat football teams. This is a group of men who play football and they try and lose weight, and they are successful in losing weight. And Man v Fat Mark has dropped me an email. He says, "Hi Mark, a great night of football at weight loss on the fan zone pitch on Friday as the guys lost another 34.8 kilograms, bringing the season's total loss to 123.7 kilograms. Player of the week was Rhino Scalco, who gained his 20% loss certificate. Well done, Rhino. Some high-scoring games this week due to the amount of bonus goals the guys are scoring by losing weight every week. So here are the results. The Seattle Quarter Pounders, 22. LA Galaxy Bar, 11. Far From Athletic, 15. To Lose a Few Pounds, 7. Pork Vale, 17. Man Titty, 16.
Rob.
L'Argentina, 0. Dynamo Kebab, 9. Man v Fat team name of the week, Borussia Moobs and Fatback. I think I could join them.
You can't say that.
Let's hope Town get back to winning ways on Saturday. Come on, you Blues, says Man v Fat to Mark. Trevor, thanks very much for coming on the show today. You've had 2 songs sung to you. The British version of The Wheels on the Bus and the Danish version of The Wheels on the Bus. Would you like us to sign out with one of those?
I think I will have the Danish version.
Can we do that?
Rather than a treat
One more
with
time,
that.
our Danish fans. The Wheels on the Bus. 1, 2, 3.
Hjulene på bussen kører rundt, rundt, rundt. Rundt, rundt, rundt. Rundt, rundt, rundt. Hjulene på bussen drejer rundt, rundt, rundt. Gennem hele byen. singen.
Will you be singing that on Saturday, I wonder?
They're very good.
You probably get the crowd joining in with you. Look, it's been a great show today. Thanks ever so much, Trevor, for coming along to talk to us and regale us with some of the stories that you can tell us. I understand what stays on the coach. You know, what happens on the coach stays on the coach, doesn't it? But you've given us a little insight into what goes on. Next week, our special guest is the one and only Matt Holland next week. He'll be joining us on Life's a Pitch TV. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. It helps with the channel. And don't forget to go onto our website, www.lifesapitch.tv, to find out what we're up to. Thanks again to our main sponsor, DPS Tech. We're also supported by All About Hearing, marketing company Ginger Pickle, Forward Floors, Come Hither Design, the Hudson Group, Sound 4 Pro Audio, Fred Olsen Logistics, John Keeble Cars in Bramford, the Dove in St Helens Street in Ipswich, and now Ashford Wright as well. Plus our sofa is sponsored by DPS Tech. And thank you to whoever brought the sausage rolls tonight. They've gone down very well. Our Danish friends love them. So they've gone down a treat. We'll be back next week, as I said. Thanks for your company. And one thing to say, up the town, everybody!
Up the town.